Welcome back to Kermode Uncut, where it's time once again for the Kermode Uncut Film Club. As always, you can watch the introduction here on Kermode Uncut, or you can download it from Vimeo, then watch the film and tell me what you think of Point Break.
We are the ex-presidents.
It's total commitment. It's a real thin line between life and death.
I'm not a crook.
A classic 90s action, Point Break was the film which established Kathryn Bigelow as perhaps the most visceral director of her generation. She had, of course, made her name with the extraordinary Near Dark, and since then has raised controversy with Zero Dark 30, a film which some people wrongly accuse of justifying torture. But it was Point Break that established her as a director who was muscular, action-packed, and who had a real eye for the cinematic spectacle of violence. The story is fairly simple. A very straight lawman is sent undercover amidst the surfing community to track down the perpetrators of a series of bank robberies which are being carried out by people wearing masks of the presidents of the United States. The central role is played by Keanu Reeves, and it was indeed a defining role for him. He said the story is of somebody who is a complete control freak who discovers another world. The ocean challenges him, breaks down his character. The interesting thing is, Keanu Reeves wasn't always the man in the frame for the role. Indeed, other candidates included Val Kilmer, Johnny Depp, and perhaps most extraordinarily, Matthew Broderick. The film is now thought of as a Keanu Reeves classic, but of course the real star is Patrick Swayze, who absolutely threw himself into the role. All the key players had to do some work getting their surf skills up to speed, but it's Patrick Swayze who did all his stunts and who really did jump out of the aeroplane. Although much of the action takes place in the ocean or even in the sky, the most extraordinary sequences in Point Break are the on-foot chase sequences, which Kathryn Bigelow shot with what she referred to as the pogo cam, a steady cam with a wire loop put there to give the camera operator some idea of what was in the frame. It's those sequences which really give the film its breakneck pace.
Thank you very much.
You want to nail the bank robbers and be a big hero.
Definitely.
As with so many great action films, Point Break was loved by audiences and has indeed become an enduring cult classic. But, of course, when it was first released, the critics were kind of sniffy about it. It tended to get 3 out of 5-star reviews. And the main criticism was this: yes, she can direct action, but the dialogue is ridiculous. She's been overwhelmed by surfer speak. People looked at it as some kind of straight-faced version of Bill and Ted. Of course, the real brilliance of the film is it gets right inside the surfing world. Point Break is a film which is loved by people who love Big Wednesday, to which it owes an enormous debt, and to which it is, incidentally, a worthy successor. I was recently programming some films to show down here in Cornwall, and I wanted to show Point Break, and it turned out that for some reason the theatrical rights had fallen into abeyance. In fact, there was an article on the BFI website written by somebody who had tried really, really hard to screen Point Break, but couldn't get permission. It's a real shame because it's a film which needs to be seen and re-seen, ideally on a great big screen. It is, for me, one of Kathryn Bigelow's best films, and I love Bigelow. I still think that Near Dark is the touchstone film of its time. But Point Break is one of those surfing movies that does everything a surfing movie should do. It has action, it has adventure, it has characters, and underneath it all, it has melancholy and something approaching a genuine soul. So now it's over to you. Have you seen Point Break? And if so, where did you see it? Did you see it in your home? Did you see it in a cinema? Did you see it perhaps at an outdoor screening? And do you love it as much as I do? Let me know.